My name is Lainey Klein-King from the Mount Diablo Unified School District Garden Education Program. Welcome to our Wellness and STEM Career Interview Series. In this series, students of all ages will be exposed to jobs that promote health, wellness, sustainability, and careers in science and engineering. I'm very excited today to introduce my colleague, Mrs. Terri Edwards Nixon from Sequoia Elementary School. Mrs. Nixon has been the garden educator there since 2016, and she is well known for her engaging lessons and for her farm to table cooking skills, which she uses in the outdoor classroom. Terri, tell us what your fondest memories of being in the garden are.
Well, I have to say that when we started the Green Team at Sequoia as an after school program, the first day that we had students come to the garden, we had no idea of how many students would come. And it was overwhelmingly heartwarming to see the students piling in that first day. And that was my first introduction to how eager students wanted to learn about gardening. And I was both overjoyed and honored to pass that knowledge and love of gardening to a new generation. And here we are 6+ years later, and that feeling really never gets old.
That's fantastic, Terri. Was there a particular person or situation that got you involved in the green team or in gardening?
Well, for gardening, the person that was most influential to me was my grandmother. She passed the love of gardening down to me. And ever since I was a little girl, I marveled at her ability to grow anything. She had an edible garden year round. And if she needed herbs or vegetables, she just went outside her door and picked it. And she knew how to amend her soil and all the tricks to make her garden bountiful. And as I got older, I had the honor of taking care of her garden when she was out of town. And that was definitely a responsibility that I didn't take lightly. She grew up in South Carolina, and gardening was a way of life. You grew your own food and you wasted nothing. And I take those values with me in my gardening as well.
So as we both know, it's currently the month of February and Black History Month. You spoke a little bit about how your grandmother was raised in South Carolina, and many people aren't fully aware of the extent Black farmers contributed to US agriculture. Can you speak a little bit to any historical figures or events that have influenced you personally?
Well, I think the most notable figures are definitely George Washington Carver and Booker T. Whatley. And I learned about George Washington Carver when I was in grade school. I was very fortunate to learn about him. And their influence carries on into farming and gardening today with regenerative soil practices and replenishing the nutrients in the soil with what you plant and with crop rotation. And my grandmother did that. I mean, it was just such a it's a generational thing that was just passed on and on. And it's a win-win because not only are you helping the planet and the soil, you reap the benefits of eating what you plant. And if you don't have good soil, you aren't going to have good crops. And that goes for backyard gardens and big farms. It all starts with the soil. And George Washington Carver and Dr. Booker T. Whatley were key in and bringing that knowledge to other farmers.
I'm guessing that soil health and crop rotation are a few of the things that you teach at Sequoia Elementary. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a garden educator there every day?
Well, I have the benefit of being able to be outside and teach students outside, which which we know is a different way of learning, and it's spontaneous because you're in nature. And I find that with that, I learn things too, because you can't help but do that, because you it's just an ongoing curriculum as you're in it. And so my day is very different. It starts out one way and it ends a different way. And I'm grateful that kids can experience that. Um, so to put my day in a nutshell, I don't know if I can do that, but it's definitely taking in the surroundings around you, and being out in nature, and um, just it's just a joyous feeling. And I'm glad that I have the opportunity, because the kids are so passionate about learning, about growing food, about pollinators, about um, nutritious food, because they have such an investment in it because they're in it.
So, for all the young people out there, what advice do you have for them about how they can contribute to the field of sustainable agriculture?
I would say connect with your community. Look at ways you can help people that are in need, in your community. Support your local farmers. And what I feel that makes the greatest way to make a difference is to get your hands dirty. Play in the soil, grow something that you like to eat. Start small. I mean, you don't have to have a big backyard garden. Start with a planter pot with some soil and a few seeds and see what happens. Explore the whole process of growing something, from when the seed sprouts to when you harvest and everything in between. And the science behind that, and what's happening in the soil, and how did it all come together. It's all important and infectious, and leads you to want to do more.
Now, you're connected with your community right now. Can you tell us a little bit about the project that you're currently working on?
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about that. When COVID first started, and we were shelter in place, a couple of garden educators, yourself included, started to put seeds out for their community, and I started to do that, right outside my house for the community, and it took off. I mean, people would come several times a day to get seeds, and we're just so grateful. And so after that, a few months later, I was like, okay, so now what else can I do? And the what else was, to do a plant swap. And my husband graciously built this huge stand, and we have a plant swap, and I grow seedlings and I put them out. But not only am I putting um, plants out, the community is also putting plants out. So it's a swap, and it actually works. And um, every day people put things out, and other people take them. It's working the way that it should work. And I have a little secret, lady. I'm actually going to try and take that a step further. And with the spring, um, the spring seedlings that I'm going to do, I'm going to have a big ask for my community, and to not only grow for yourself, but grow for a little extra so that we can help people in need in our community. And I can facilitate this because I have an Instagram page, and information about that on the swap. And not only is it information about how to grow, but it's about how to cook the food that you grow. And all of that is really important to mutual aid. And so I'm hoping that that will just continue on, in not only my community, but other communities. Start a plant swap somewhere. It just takes some seeds and soil and a little word out to your community, and you'll be surprised at how many people will not only come and take plants, but also come and give plants.
Well, I know what a success that it's been, and I hope others do take that on and start a plant swap in their community because it really does make all the difference. Terry, thank you so much for sharing your time today to help me get to know you better and help your students get to know you better, but most importantly, to share with others just a bit more about what it means to be a garden educator and how you touch the lives of young people every day. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me, Lainey. It's been a pleasure.